When installing the cable shift cable, install the shift in first. Make sure the shifter is in the second, third position, and make sure everything is tightened down. You're going to tighten this adapter as far down as it will go. Then you're going to tighten this nut to it, slide it in through the hole that's in your chassis, and attach this nut and lock it down. The clevis needs to be flush, like the threaded part needs to be flush with that right there. So these threads need to go in to that. Don't tighten the jam nut just yet. Get it all seated on there. Get this. Get the clevis pin installed. Then make sure you have movement. And you can try reverse, try fifth. Make sure you have movement there. If it feels pretty good, tighten the jam nut, and then make sure all of this is secure. This is in a neutral position between second and third, and then we move to the rear. Typically, when I ship these out, I place these nuts roughly in the center of the threaded area so that it's approximately centered when you put all this, pass this through the bracket hole, and loosely. You're going to make sure these are not cranked down, and I'll show you what the next step is. The UN1 transaxle allows you to shift it manually at the shaft. You can move it in and out of neutral and into gears. So what you should do at this point is adjust this into first gear. When you adjust this into first gear and put it there, then you loosely snug up those nuts. Hopefully at this point you will move the shifter. You'll have the shifter already hopefully in first gear. That's I meant to say that ahead of time. Put this into first gear or approximately that position. Of course, I don't have the rods attached right now, but they will be, and they'll provide some drag. Put that into first, and when you move the transaxle into first, make sure the clevis is attached, and then you hand tighten these nuts to that first gear position when this is in first gear. The nuts are used, these are 1/18, so each full rotation is 1/18 of an inch. So that means each turn, each facet turn is 9 thousandths, which is 0.235 millimeters. That's just one facet. So multiply that times 6, and you can gauge how far in and out this is going. I'll show you what you'll need to do to adjust this. The transaxle is in first, the cable's attached, the jam nut here, everything at this end is fully secure. The shifter is in first gear, and you've got these hand tight, but enough to where you can adjust it. You're not going to crank these down yet. But everything's in first gear. You then go into reverse gear. So go to reverse gear, and that's going to turn the bell crank to a position where it's going to be at its furthest extent. Then you check the transmission and the transaxle end and make sure it is also in reverse. If it's not fully seating in reverse, if it's not going, if the movement here, if you can see this movement, if the movement here is not far enough, if it's not far enough for that, then you adjust this one full turn, which is 1/18 of an inch, and see if it goes one full turn. You're going to move this way. So you're going to loosen this side and tighten this side to move this this bracket as the center point. Move the cable this way so that you're getting 1/18 more movement that way. And if you feel good, if reverse feels good and it's fully seated at both ends, then you go to fifth gear, put yourself in fifth gear, and if fifth gear is seated fully, then fine. If it's not seated fully, then you adjust this 1/2 turn and you tighten this up to move it back that way. So you're not, instead of moving an 1/18 inch this way, which you just did, you're going to be moving half that distance that way. Once that's done, you check fifth. If fifth feels good, or if it doesn't, you got to move it a little more. Then you go back and test reverse again. If moving it back 1/2 of that distance still gets you in reverse, but fifth gear still doesn't feel like it's seated all the way, then move 2 flats. 2 flats is going to be 18 thousandths of an inch. And 18 thousandths of an inch doesn't sound like a lot, but those numbers add up to where, okay, I just need a little bit more to fully go into the gate for fifth gear. And you will make that adjustment, tighten up that, remember, hand tighten it, and you check reverse again. Check reverse if it's fully seating or if it's not fully seating. If it's not fully seating, you have to move this, you move it this way to make it further seat into reverse, move it this way to further seat into fifth gear. And like I said, start with 1 full turn, and if that feels better, then you're moving it in the right direction. If it feels worse, you're moving in the wrong direction. If it feels better but not quite seated, do it another full turn. Or if it is seated but the other side feels bad, then you do it by half increment. And at that point, once you move it a half, start moving it 2 facets or 1 facet. Keep track of your flats, and you'll move this way to snug into reverse, and move it this way to get into fifth. You're going to take about 5 to 10 drives until you get this fully adjusted to where it needs to be. This is probably half the drives you'll need to take if you were doing this on a Volkswagen transaxle, because the old Volkswagen transaxles are sloppier than this, than the UN1. So this is how you adjust for reverse. You move it this way for fifth, and just go just know that 1 full turn is an 1/18 of an inch, or 0.423 millimeters. And there it is. I'm gonna hopefully make an actual instruction video on how to install this and how to adjust it, but this is what I have right now. There it is.